Cassandro is the true story of the wrestling artist known as Cassandro, who is a Mexican wrestler. He's an aspiring wrestler, and he's sort of a type of wrestler that is a more effeminate type of wrestler, and they always lose. They always lose. And Cassandro kind of wants to flip the script and become a wrestler who wins rather than lose. It's sort of like, I think the term is like a glamour, these sort of glamour boys or whatever.
Exotico.
Exotica. That's right. Exotica. So an Exotica always loses.
Sorry.
Exotico. So an Exotico is a Mexican wrestler that wrestles and is usually more effeminate or more just much more flamboyant, let's say, both in costume and in action. And an Exotico will, wrestle, amateur wrestle another wrestler and then always lose. And Cassandro, or his name is Cassandro. His name is actually Saul Armin. I can't. Saul Amendariz is the name of the actual person. Played by Gael Garcia Bernal, who you've seen in probably a lot of Pedro Almodovar films. And so this is a biopic about his rise to fame. And I'll say this, the reason that what got me interested in this movie is I have seen Cassandro. I have gone to Lucha Vavoom in Los Angeles, in downtown Los Angeles. It's been running for years. It is a show that involves burlesque dancers, comedians, and Mexican wrestlers. Cassandro being among the best of all of them. And Cassandro recently, actually, unfortunately, suffered a stroke, but performed recently a special tribute show to Cassandro. And I actually did interview the director for this. And I'll say this, I enjoyed the film, but and there is a documentary about Cassandro and I haven't seen it. I'm going to guess the documentary is better. You see him going through the struggles. This is what the real Cassandro looks like. And here's what's interesting. This is the first time, and I mentioned this to the director, this is the first time, how like they'll do a biopic on someone, you see what they really look like, and then you see they cast Brad Pitt to play, the person in the movie, right? Or they cast like a really good looking actor. I'll say this, I've met Cassandro. I've taken photos with Cassandro at Lucha Vavoom shows, and I'll say he's like the he's incredibly good looking. He's like the Liberace of Mexican wrestlers. And I saw him get injured badly at a show where the entire show stopped for like 30 minutes while they attended to Cassandro. Currently the movie is on it's on Amazon Prime. And I just feel like it didn't capture, for me, it didn't capture how beloved Cassandro was, the Queen of the Ring. And I hope that the documentary does that. Again, it's a lot of cases of where I feel that the real story is more interesting. Maybe it's because I have a prejudice or I just have a bias toward documentaries. I love really good documentaries. And when you fictionalize something, why are you doing this? It goes into Cassandro's relationship with his mother, had a very good relationship with his mother, who supported Cassandro, but then had a terrible relationship with his father, who kind of abandoned him. So that's what the film gets into. I just feel like Cassandro was such a, like when Cassandro would be at Lucha Vavoom would be the highlight of Lucha Vavoom. And just like having attended those shows, it just didn't really capture Lucha Vavoom and the fandom. And Cassandro would come out. So they'd have the Mexican wrestlers go out, and then they would come out to the lobby and do photos with fans. And I've gotten photos with Cassandro. Cassandro's like kind of a smallish, probably 5'6", maybe 5'7", shorter than I am. So there you go. But the shows were just such, there was a spectacle to it, and like an elegance, but with tongue in cheek. It never took itself too seriously. And that's why I love Lucha Vavoom. So I would give this a mild recommendation, probably 6 or 6.5 out of 10. Just because I feel like it didn't capture the Liberace majesty that Cassandro uh, emanated, and it's the one and only time I cannot think of another example where the real life person, I believe, is much better looking, more attractive, and had more I don't know, just a sort of grace that the lead actor, with all due respect to Gael, who's been really good in other films, just didn't seem to capture for me. So it's a mixed and a mild recommendation to check it out on on um on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Al,
You
you have
know,
any thoughts?
I saw half of the movie,
Yeah,
and there's a reason why I saw half the movie. It's slow. It the wrestling itself,
yeah,
subpar, I would say, in the way it's shot. Not as exciting as it should be, as wrestling should be. And and I'll be honest, I've had this conversation with a lot of my gay friends, but my gay friends avoid LGBT movies because they tend to be about the same thing. It's a
right.
coming out story. It's a prejudice story. And I think there's more to the genre of there's more to being gay and there's more to being LGBT that can be portrayed in film, but it just seems like the same story rehashed over and over again. And I get this is a true story, but I've seen this story, and I think that's why Bottoms kind of is one example where it just said, "Look, let's move on. Let's take the gay story and move on." And I think that's why I resonate with Bottoms much more than this, because I've just seen this before.
Well,
And
and that's
so yeah,
right.
so yeah, just it's so laborious. The pace is so slow. So
And
that's
that's the
my feeling
thing.
about
It it
Cassandra.
it never captured
Mhm.
the look. I've seen Cassandro many times at Lucha Vavoom. I've been going since God for over a decade. Over a decade. I've been attending Lucha Vavoom. It is, if you've never been to it, it is an LA. It's an LA experience. It's everyone is there like to have fun. It's you're cheering for the performers
Mhm.
in it, and there's a spirit. I just wanted to recapture that feeling. It didn't show great wrestling. I wanted great wrestling, and Cassandro is a performer that like was so, oh my god. I love Lucha Vavoom. Not only that, you got to get street tacos after. That is a ritual. You have not seen Lucha Vavoom if you don't come out, you get some street tacos, and also you meet the wrestlers in the lobby, and they're so they've got a great sense of humor about it,
Yeah.
but like
It
the
didn't
Cassandra.
capture the energy that I mean, look, I've been watching wrestling most of my life. So I understand the energy that comes with a wrestling match and the crowd, and this one just didn't capture it. And again, I saw, he's supposed to be, this underdog who's trying to become, a an exotico that wins. Um, but it's just you can only carry that so far in a movie. I haven't seen the second half. Maybe it gets more exciting in the second half, but in
No,
order
no,
to
it didn't.
capture one's attention and in order to sustain that attention, you've got to build that energy and keep and have some energy in the middle of the film. And that's ultimately why I bailed out on it midway through.
Well, the second half deals with a something of a reconciliation with his father, but you pointed it out just now. I'll end with this, and then we'll go to your quick comments and we'll pivot. But I'll just say that not every movie about someone who is gay has to lean into the victim aspects, and that's what made Bottoms, I think, a better. It was never about being victim of a victim, and this movie is all about this being a victim. I'm a victim. They don't want an exotico to win. I don't, and all the struggles. It's like, but you can get past that and just show
Mhm.
like the one thing I don't having been to Lucha Vavoom so many times, I would go to it at least once or twice a year. They kind of went off, they fell off during the reaction to the pandemic. They obviously didn't do shows,
Yeah.
but I've been to it so many times, and Cassandra was beloved. the audience loved Cassandro was the headliner, right? Like, it's such a great show. And I know you're a fan of traditional wrestling. I'm not as much of a fan. I prefer Mexican wrestling because Mexican wrestling leans into almost like they're like superheroes. It's just
Mhm.
my personal preference. I'm not trying to disparage traditional, WWE or anything like that. But Mexican wrestling, there's something even more like it's like they're superheroes, right? Like the costumes and just everything about it, the stories, the sort of double team. I don't know. I just love everything about Lucha Vavoom, which is my experience of that, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, let me point out there's a documentary called Out in the Ring that is much better in terms of um, the the gay and LGBT storylines in wrestling. So it talks about Adrian Adonis, Gold Dust, but then it also gets in the lives of being gay in wrestling was not looked kindly upon. But you
Mm,
realize that there were some great gay wrestlers. Pat Patterson was Vince McMahon's right hand, so to speak. He's considered one of the great storytellers of wrestling, and he's gay, and he's been gay. He was outed a long time ago, and just the fact that he was able to you know to build such a legacy in his own life and to have mentored and guided a lot of current professional wrestlers that the he really gets into that in that documentary. And so I would recommend Out in the Ring. But yeah, this one not so much.
yeah, and you can see the interview that I did with the director on our Film Threat interviews channel. We had to pre-record it just for schedule reasons, but it's up on the channel right now. And I'll just say, you know, I I I I did mention to him that I thought that Cassandro in real life is better looking than the actor that they picked to play him. I mean, I thought I'm like, well, he didn't really channel the spirit to me of Cassandro, which really bothered me. And Cassandro did suffer a stroke right before they started shooting, which is really tragic.
Mhm.
So, any case, mild recommendation, but more of a recommendation to check out other documentaries, including the documentary about Cassandro, and then the one that you recommended just now, Alan. What's it called?
Out in the Ring.
Goober. Not every gay movie needs to be gay. Yeah, that's another
Yeah,
Confucius quote.
yeah.
Gorfucius. No, I'm
I mean,
just
no,
saying
you
is
brought up the
not
issue.
no,
The
not
conversation I have with my gay friends and family members is 80% of gay cinema is this victim storyline.
right.
And it's just too much, and it gets tiring, and it devalues the genre altogether.
Right. Yeah, no, I just feel like not every story, not every gay story has to be about victimhood. And that's why I think you and I both liked Bottoms, is because Bottoms was about two women who happened to be gay. And I don't think they brought, even when they lost, and they lost a lot, like they failed at things, they lost, they were rejected by straight women who wanted nothing to do with them. And, um, they never portrayed themselves as victims. They're just, hey, they're just trying to find love like anyone
Yeah.
else.
They
They're
just
trying
wanted
to
to
be
bang
accepted.
cheerleaders. That's all.
They just wanted to bang cheerleaders, just like a lot of us when we were in high school. And not a single cheerleader ever looked twice at me. All right.